The new Aqara G5 Pro is an impressive camera, and I can tell you that it has really amazing visuals and actually a really good microphone and speaker system that rivals some of the best cameras out there today. However, there's a pretty hefty price tag on this one, so the question of whether this is worth it or not is a good one. And I have 3 points to share with you there. Number one, I think it really matters what you're going to use this camera for. The visuals are really good, and the spotlight on it can be adjusted based on the scene. Now, that keeps everything looking really clear. What you don't want to do is let it get too dark in your scene. So you're going to have that spotlight come on in the evenings or even in the afternoons. But once you turn that on, the visuals are second to none and the camera has impressive specifications. So unlike some other cameras, you'll have that spotlight on. Maybe it doesn't work in a bedroom then. In fact, it's those specifications that are my second point to share with you. The sensor is very large and the megapixels work with that. That's how you end up with really good visuals. A lot of cameras give you a lot of megapixels, but not a good sensor. Also, the processing power and the connection options that you have with this are very important too. The processing power means it can do really great detection, which we'll talk about in a minute, but the connectivity options mean that you can wire this camera in with power over Ethernet or other options for things like Wi-Fi. That also means that you can store clips on things like NAS if you have one of those in your home. So you can store clips locally. Now, number three, the different detections that you can do with this camera and the success of those detections is very impressive. This is something that's been worked on by Aqara for a number of years, and I would say with the capabilities of this camera and the specifications behind it, they've been able to make detection really strong. You know, for example, this camera knows exactly when it's my car in our garage, and it was able to identify cars that were outside of our home. It can identify me personally, and it even plays messages and custom sounds for different faces. All of that is something you can set up in the app. The biggest concern that people will have with this camera is the price tag. Now, if you're just looking for a basic camera to report movement in and around your home, this is not it because of that price. But if you want something that you can automate based off of, if you want something that's going to capture footage you can use, then this starts to come into the picture. You're only going to need this camera one time and it'll work for many years because of how it's been built.